being able to trace license plates is amazing. Whether you're a private investigator or someone who's interested in OSINT, just a regular person, this will take your investigations to the next level. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video, talking about different ways to trace license plates and a way that will even give you a little bit of limited vehicle location history without restricted access databases, without anybody telling you you can't do it. There are some slim chances that these two methods I'm going to teach you will work, but when they do, it's incredible and it really gives you a lot of information to work with. It is only one small part of being able to do license plate traces, and I talk about this in other videos, having a 1% solution. So being able to take this combined with other options you have and being able to get into that 10-15% ability to trace a license plate. So this comes about for me from a very specific use case. A security professional who saw a van that did not look right. It was suspicious, had a couple suspicious people get out of it, and he wanted to know more about it, and what he had to go on was the license plate. He did call the police to report this vehicle, and he was very clear that it didn't matter to him, but if the police were interested, if it was stolen, if it was a problem, that's there for them, and he just wanted to let them know about it. The vehicle he was concerned about was a Dodge. I think they're called ProMasters. They're those large white work vans, and this one was particularly hoopty looking. The people who got out were particularly suspicious, and the totality of circumstances were not right. It was very near a drug corner, and that's exactly where these two people went around the corner and disappeared. When I say suspicious vehicle, I mean it was banged up, it was an older vehicle. Not that we all haven't driven that type of vehicle at one time or another, but again, the totality of circumstances. In fact, this was such a beat up vehicle, the passenger window was halfway down with a pair of scissors jammed in there to keep it from falling all the way down into the door. When I talk about suspicious people, here's a picture of the driver, and I always blur out those faces. Let me show you here real quick. Oh no, it is belovable movie icon Joe Dirt. That's terrible. But seriously, this person, given the location, the vehicle, everything else, I should point out that this vehicle also, just the behavior of these two individuals, the vehicle, it pulled up into a handicapped parking space. No handicap tags, no handicap placard, and these two individuals got out without even paying into the meter, and went around the corner at this drug corner. Just this casual abuse and use like this just kind of gives a feel for how they might live their lifestyle and just adds to the suspicion level of this vehicle. The police arrived. They, interestingly enough, found a second license plate folded up and kind of hidden under the passenger seat. They decided to impound this vehicle, and probably for good purpose. Now that's where the story ends for the security guard, but he was curious and wanted to know more. So with the information that I've just shared with you, let's take a look and see what kind of things we can flesh out from just this scanty bit of information. One of the sources here we're going to talk about is parking violations. And if this vehicle parked so casually in this case, maybe there are other situations where it got parking violations. That might be able to tell us a little bit something about it. So let's take a look. So again, this is using public records, which is a subset of OSINT. And I'm going to go to where a person goes to pay their parking tickets and type in the license plate number and see what comes up. Let's take a look here. All right, so there's the tag number. We'll hit submit. See what comes up, and what we find here is that there is a $70 fine parking violation outstanding on this vehicle. And right here we can see unpaid parking ticket comes up for that vehicle in the 100 block of this street right here. All right, very interesting to know. Also, we have a date that shows up, so we know when this vehicle was at a certain location. Let's take a look and see what comes up with that location. So I'm going to switch over to a mapping service now and see what that location is and what it looks like. So here is my location. I know right where it is. I'm going to take from the bottom of the screen the little yellow guy and drop him on there. And sure enough, I get a view of the street. I can see the signs where the intersection is. I can see also this house over here, which I am kind of suspicious of, but that's the address of the place. and I can see some other vehicles parked on the street. If I swing around a little bit here, let me swing this view around. I can see parked right down the street is this style van, this type of van, and maybe it's the exact same van. I don't even know. It certainly gets my attention right there. Of course, this service has blocked out the license plate number, which is fine and legitimate. I'm kind of glad they do. As a private investigator, you want that. You don't want just anybody stumbling upon things. You need them to hire you. That's how you make your living. But this is kind of a clever way. So now we know maybe the same vehicle at a previous time at this corner. Now it's beyond the scope of what we're doing here, but we can now take this address, this intersection, and start to pull up records there, OSINT records, public records, and learn about it. And we may even find that this is a residence for these people, especially the driver. We may find that it's a dope house. I don't know. Well, but we're not going to go into that here. But that's wide open to you when you understand how to use public records. Let's take a look at some more things. So that's just one source, parking violations. Let me bring you into another thing because we know the vehicle was impounded. Let's look at the records of impounded vehicles in that area. So here we are at a different webpage for the city where we're going to be looking up impounded vehicles, which is different than parking violations. Not every vehicle that gets a parking ticket is impounded, but we know in this case it is. And even if we didn't know for sure, I find it's kind of worth a look on it. So let's take a look here. First thing I'm going to do is type in the plate number of the vehicle. Come over, hit the search button. No vehicle found. See, that's very interesting to me because we know it was impounded. Now, maybe it's already been fetched out of impound, but I know these records pretty well. And even if it was recently picked up from impound, it should still be listed here. So why in the world would the license plate of this impounded vehicle not show up at the police impound lot? Well, one reason is maybe they got booked in under a different license plate. If you remember, I told you there was that hidden license plate under the passenger seat that was folded in half. Now we know a partial plate that the security guard was able to see as it was being unfolded, but I'm going to show you an alternate way to search here that can be very, very helpful. Specifically, if I clear out the license plate data there and come down to the date and time towed. So let's go into the towed date, punch that in off of the calendar. If we hit search, we can see right here too many search results came in order to be helpful. So we're going to lower that down just by color of vehicle. That they just towed too many vehicles that day. It's a little off screen. I'm going to select white because it was that white style van. Again, hit search. And look at that, an entire list of vehicles comes up with license plate numbers, make and model. Certainly just a ton of information if you're doing any kind of OSINT investigation. Now we know that this vehicle was a Dodge. I can see a Dodge right there. We know that the tag, partial tag, there's a partial match on it right there. So if I click on that tag, scroll down, sure enough, I'm going to find information including the exact location from where it was towed. We know this is exactly the right vehicle. And all the other information. Here's the VIN information for you, the year of the vehicle, the date and time of the tow, location. Here's the interesting thing, though. This license plate is not the same license plate that was on the vehicle. This is the license plate right here that was hidden underneath that passenger plate, which tells me that was a good call on the security guard. Again, the vehicle, the plate that was showing was not the license plate of the vehicle itself. It belonged to another vehicle. Now you can see you don't need a secret database, a law enforcement database, the ability even necessarily to run tags outright like a licensed private investigator. If you know how to use public records and this OSINT information, and again, public records are this very strong, heavy, large category of OSINT. If you know how to do that, you can start with something that you know is merely suspicious or something that a client brings to you as suspicious. It just doesn't, the story, it doesn't pass the smell test. You know that it's not right. And use these different sources and methods to really flesh out a lot of history. And it can be very interesting, like this plate that did not belong on this vehicle. So what if we took this new full complete tag information we have and run that through parking violations and see what comes out? There's just so much more you can do with this. You can do a bunch of stuff when you have very little information to start with and you understand public records. It's great to have this skill. But if you're looking to make money with this skill set, especially if you're a licensed private investigator, be sure to check out the video that I have available for you at the end here. Also, it is in the description. And if you're curious about the very specific websites that I use to run this information, I've got a video specifically like that. If you go over to shadowanyone.com, this is my website with somewhere in the vicinity, almost 500 videos, tutorials, and trainings, that type of thing. I do have right up in the menu bar here, you can see I do have a public records mini course. I highly recommend it if this type of OSINT and public records appeals to you. But the video that I want you to be aware of is right here. Scooting it over just a little bit for you here, you can see it's the best public records search site for you. That is a video that is available over at shadowanyone.com. You can also find it a couple of other places, I guess. Maybe hopefully only one other place. I don't like that my free stuff is being copied and sold as courses. I do have my courses which go way more in depth on these things. And if you're interested in learning public records, I highly recommend them. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. I will get to as many as I can. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with shadowanyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.